I suggest that everybody sign up for the newsletter at westchestercatalyst.com, because Bridget Gibbons is sending out amazing information every day. So this information will be a little more general. However, Jan is going to make herself available to all of you afterwards. This is being recorded, so don't feel the need to take too many notes. We'll also have hard copies or digital hard copies of the presentation available. I can send it to you. It'll be on the Catalyst site, but it will all be there with all the links and all the information. So try to sit back and relax, be mindful, absorb the information. And if you have a question, feel free to send it to me, and we're going to do our best to get to everybody's concerns. So I'm going to follow my own rules and mute myself now and introduce Jan, and she's going to give you lots of good information in a very digestible way. But once again, any questions, just chat them. Thank you.
Great, thanks, Sherry. So I am going to go ahead and share my screen. So hopefully now you can all see. And to Sherry's point, probably many of us have been on multiple Zoom meetings, this week, never mind over the last few weeks. So for those of you who maybe are still kind of getting used to it, you can somewhere, if you're on your desktop, click on the speaker view, which will make the slideshow window a little bit bigger, and then those of us who are on the call will shrink down to a little icon. So anyway, so as Sherry said, my name is Jan Mirchandani. I'm the owner of Westchester Marketing Cafe. We work with small businesses on digital marketing, and we wanted to share some of the information with you today in terms of kind of getting you up and running quickly and efficiently with your e-commerce. A lot of people are having to kind of pivot, find new ways of doing business, and selling online. May be the difference between kind of keeping you going between now and the time when we all get released, and it may actually offer some additional opportunities. So as Sherry said, don't feel you have to take copious notes. Don't feel like you have to, at the end of this presentation, have digested everything. Just kind of take it in. All of this information is going to be available. And at the very end, there's information if you want to set up a consultation. The county is making arrangements so that we can make consultation available to you at no cost. So, again, just kind of roll with it, take it all in, and continue the conversation later as we go. So we talked about the meeting guidelines. The chat is best for questions. If you have questions, go ahead and put those in the chat box. Sherry's going to be consolidating those so we can combine them and cover ground more quickly and easily. Please keep yourself on mute. The information that I'm sharing today is really going to be sort of broad stroke, some of the opportunities available with e-commerce, from very simple to more complex options for you. Hopefully you'll be finishing our time together with some ideas of how you can execute this for your business. If at the end of this presentation, as we go forward and you want to set up an appointment, you can certainly do so I have an online link for, you can just schedule a time that's convenient for you. So, and again, that information is going to be available at the end of the presentation. So with that being said, this is sort of how the presentation is organized. Really want to start with taking a look at an overview of e-commerce. What are the different components that you need to understand and incorporate into your online selling? What are the mechanics of it? I have a couple of quick start scenarios to give you some ideas of how you might be able to start selling things online. And then go into a little bit more of a deeper dive, more complex solutions, more involved solutions. And then for anybody who does not have a website currently at all, don't panic. We're going to go over some of the mechanics of that at the end. But I think that you'll find that the information that we cover between now and then in the next hour and a half or so will be useful for you, whether or not you have a website. And even if you don't want to build a website, that's fine. There's still opportunities for you to sell online. So let's just jump right in. So how do you sell online? There's a couple of different components, obviously. Probably most of us have bought something online at some point. Obviously, you have to have products, you have to, or services, you have to have something that you're selling. It might be something as simple as a gift card. It might be a digital download or like a simple product such as a mug or something. So when I'm talking about simple products, what I mean is something like a mug where there's no sizes, there's no color options, it's just the product. If I'm buying that product, that's what I'm buying. There's no additional options. That's different, obviously, than something like clothing that has variables that I need to select as part of my purchase, right? I have to pick the right size. I want a certain color or a certain pattern. So that's something that you have to think about, what it is that you're selling. Do you want to include additional incentives? For example, if you're going to buy, a shirt, are you going to get the tie thrown in? Is there going to be free shipping? What other additional selling incentives are you going to include as part of that package? So once you know what the products or services that you're selling, how are you going to sell it, right? That's what when we're talking about how you're selling, it's really some function of a shopping cart. Is it a simple buy now button? Do you want to have customers have the ability to go back and add additional products? Are you going to suggest products for them? And, so there's a whole myriad of different ways. When you think about some of the online shopping experiences you've probably had a wide range. At the most complex, something like Amazon, right? That's really sophisticated shopping cart where, you can pick a variety of different products with different options, sizes and colors and add-ons and all kinds of things. You can log back in later and see your purchase history. That's a really super sophisticated shopping cart. You've probably maybe even bought a gift certificate online. That's like the other end of the spectrum where it's super easy. There's a gift card, there's a set dollar amount, you click purchase, you go through to the checkout, and then you're done. There's no history involved. There's nothing really more sophisticated than just simply checking out with that one item in your shopping cart. So there's obviously a range of options, and you're going to want to think through what is it that you need to get your business up and running really quickly and efficiently to start selling online. Where are you selling? Do you have a website currently and you want to add your products to your website? So you have your own domain and all of the shopping cart and everything is going to happen on that same domain? Or are you going to use a third-party platform and incorporate what's called a subdomain, right? So shop.com is your domain, that's your website address. Shop.mybiz.com is what's called a subdomain. So there's an add-on to your primary domain. Versus mybiz.com/product, where you're just simply, maybe you have a website and you're adding a single page with some products, essentially a product list on that page where people can select what it is that they want to buy and check out, maybe using a third-party platform. So there's different options, there's different configurations, and we're going to get into some of those scenarios so you'll get to see it in action. But you want to kind of make a decision. Again, right now we're having a conversation about how do you make that happen for your business really quickly. So you want to, kind of skew towards the simplest solution, the quickest solution for you right now. You can always scale up, right? So where else are you selling? If you maybe don't have a website, do you have an email list that you can send people your offers, that you can send them a link to your products? You can sell on Facebook and Instagram. Any place where you can communicate and you can share information about your products and your services, that's an opportunity for you to sell. The last component that you're going to need as part of your e-commerce solution is you need some sort of payment processor. So the payment processor is PayPal. PayPal actually functions as a shopping cart and a payment processor. A lot of us already have PayPal, so it's a good solution. possibly for a payment processor and a shopping cart. We'll get into that in a little bit. You may also, for those people who maybe have brick and mortar, you may already have an e-commerce, you may already have a merchant account, right? So if you're taking credit cards already, either, physical people are coming into your store or have been coming into your store, you're taking those credit cards physically, you already have a payment processor where you can maybe add the online capabilities to that as well. So there's a number of different solutions. I have a list at the end of the presentation of sort of a resource list to go over some of these and some of the options that we're going to be talking about. So again, don't feel like you've got to be taking notes right now. So here's just a sampling of some of these options. So third-party platforms for sell now options. PayPal is one. GiftUp is another one that's really geared towards specifically to gift cards. The Gift Card Cafe, obviously, for gift cards as well. Those are different than a website solution where you have an online shop. WordPress, a lot of people already have a WordPress website, so you may be able to add e-commerce to your existing website if you're on WordPress. Squarespace has e-commerce solution built into some of its packages, and Shopify is another option. For the merchant accounts for payment processing, I mentioned you may already be taking credit cards. Talk to your current processor and see if you can add a virtual terminal. They may have sort of an app type of thing where you can upgrade your account and start taking credit cards online. They may even have a shopping cart solution as part of their plan. Your bank, kind of the same deal. PayPal, as I mentioned, but you can set up buttons and run the credit cards and take care of both of those. Stripe is specifically a payment processor, but it's integrated with a lot of third-party platforms. So you might set up a Shopify e-commerce site and integrate it with your Stripe payment processor. And with those two pieces linked, now you have your online shop and your payment processor, and you're off to the races, as they say. Square is sort of the same thing. Different platforms will integrate more easily or less easily with different merchant accounts. So you're going to want to take a peek at least at some of these options to see what feels good for you, what seems to work for your particular situation. But in the meantime, let's take a look at some examples. So as we're making our way through the presentation, really think about, if you can get away with a really basic checkout, you have just maybe a few simple products, maybe you're a service provider, you can get up and running pretty quickly with, very limited investment of time and money. If you really have a lot of products, a lot of variations on your products, if you're going to make it more complex, or if it needs to be more complex with a more dynamic checkout, obviously there's a steeper curve for that, right? There's more time and energy that goes into adding all of your products, setting up the checkout so it's got all of the options that you want to include. So I would encourage you, as we're kind of having this conversation today, really think about what is it that you really need and what is it that you want, and really kind of see if you can add things to we'll integrate this down the road, and really focus on, maybe your top 10 products, or, your top services that you can sell now quickly, and then start to add some features and functionality over time, and that will help you shorten the learning curve, frankly, the learning curve and the time to implement. So before I get into the examples, does anybody have any questions on anything that I've covered so far? Okay. So the first example, I figured we'd start with the easy one and go from there. Gift cards. Gift cards are super, super easy. They're great pretty much for anybody. without a business, with a business. I'm sorry, businesses with a website, without a website. If you already have an e-commerce store, probably you're not here if you already have an e-commerce store, but anybody can sell a gift card. Restaurants, entertainment venues, service providers, if you're a hair salon, florist, artists. I've spoken to artists who are able to join, to sell a gift certificate, because it's really just, you're getting the cash now for a service or product down the road, which is really a huge benefit now, especially as so many businesses are struggling. You really want to just start getting some cash in, right, to kind of keep you floating until, we're all released from home. So, that's really a major advantage is they're really easy to set up. You're getting cash now, and especially for restaurants and entertainment venues, oftentimes people will buy a gift certificate or a gift card, and then when they go to redeem it, if you're going out to dinner, you're going to spend more money often than the face value of the card. So there's a lot of advantages in being able to make that offer as well. It also provides an incentive for your customers, your current customer base, to come back and do business with you down the road. So it's not really a con, but it is something to be aware of. There are, and especially in New York State, there are regulations regarding expiration dates and what's called dormancy fees. If you're going to issue a gift card, you can't say, well, it expires in 30 days or it expires in a year. In New York State, the regulation is it can't expire in less than 5 years. So you want to be aware, if you are going to issue that gift card, that it has to be good for at least 5 years. You may want to think about not including any kind of expiration. And even for gift cards that don't have an expiration on it, you can actually expect about a 5 to 7% non-redemption rate. So, oftentimes people will buy a gift card and then, you put it in your pocketbook or you put it in the junk drawer or something, and it never gets used. So that's something to be aware of. And then as you're thinking about whether or not and how you might implement selling gift cards, be creative in the offers that you're sending out to your customers, right? Can you sell a $250 gift card and let your customers know, listen, you're spending $250 now, but you're going to get $300 in services down the road, when you redeem it. Is there some sort of built-in discount that way? Can you come up with a buy one give one type of special? It's really up to you. You can, however you want to package it and however you want to, whatever kind of special you want to offer your customers, really be creative in how you do that. So the mechanics, so it's all well and good, how do you actually now put this together? So in this particular scenario, the product is a gift card. The example that I'm going to show you in just a moment is using, it's called an app called giftup.com. And in this scenario, when we were talking before about, where is your e-commerce being hosted? In this particular scenario, it's actually what's called a hosted checkout, meaning your customers are going to check out on the giftup.com web servers. So you don't actually even have to have a website at all. You can share your gift card offer through email or social media. And then when they check out, that payment is actually going to get processed through PayPal. So hopefully my links will, whoops, I'm in the wrong window. Okay. Let me get you to the right window. And here we go. All right. So the first thing we're going to do, so giftup.com is the app. You can go in, it's free to set up. So you can go, and again, you don't have to do this now live while we're going over it, because you're going to have all of this at the end of the presentation. But go ahead, you can set up your account, and then you're going to go into the first thing. Obviously, you want to be able to accept the money. So you're going to set up your business name. You're going to set up all of this other information. But for right now, you're going to just connect it to PayPal. All right, I've already got it set up for us. That's super easy to do. You just link it to your PayPal account. You're going to set up some items for sale. And I went in and set up a few things for us to take a look at. What's nice about this is you can add groups as well as individual items. So just for argument's sake, for this example, I actually created two. Yeah.
We can't see the website. We're just seeing your presentation.
Okay. Hang on 1 second. Then let me stop share and then let me reshare. And we are, got to get the right window. Okay. All right, can you see it now?
Yes.
Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so let's go back then. So when you go, so it's just giftup.com, or well, this one I'm logged in, so it's giftup.app. You're going to set up your account, and so you're going to want to look at, obviously you set up your business information. You can customize a lot of this stuff, so go in and tool around if this looks like it's something that might be of use for you. Payment gateways, this is where we connect it to the to our payment gateway, right? So I have it set up because I already happen to have a PayPal account, so it was super easy for me. I just linked it to my existing PayPal account, so it's already configured. And then the next thing you're going to do is go into items for sale. All right, so it's a very friendly user interface, and in this particular case, I set, just kind of for this example, I set up 2 different groups. You don't have to, it was just for this example. You can set up, I set up a development group and a training group, and then I created individual gift cards within those groups. So adding a group is another group, very cleverly named. And you see it right in your list. We can add an item for sale, another item for sale. You're going to put in your price. You can add it to an existing group. You can create custom artwork or use your same artwork and then just save it. It's that simple. It's really straightforward, easy to use, and now we're going to preview the checkout. So it's a nice, it's a nice looking interface, very user friendly, and we're going to actually. This was another option. You can choose your own gift card value. So you can go in and test purchase. Your users can change the quantity so they can buy more than 1 gift card at a time. You can put in your name and then your recipient's name. This is the email that we're going to send the gift card to. So in other words, this is for your recipient. You can send it instantly or on a future date. What's kind of cool about that is, especially this time of year, you can have customers that are buying a gift card now, but then maybe send it for Mother's Day or for graduation, especially for all those poor seniors who are not getting graduations this year. So, that might be something, that you could set up as an incentive for your customers. Optional message, and then you continue. The tip is as an option on the gift card or on your account. So for a service industry, like for somebody like a hairdresser, you could include that, right? If you're going to be selling gift cards now for, post-COVID appointments, you can let your customer pay for the tip for whoever they're going to give the gift card to. If you are selling gift cards for a particular product, it may not be appropriate, and you can make that decision as you set up your account. we're going to place the order, whoops, after we put in our email for the receipt. And it's that easy. All right, so you can download the gift card. And then of course it gets emailed to the recipient as well. And then when you redeem them, you're just going to go into orders. Oh, need to view test data. All right, so we're going to view. Obviously, this is just testing data, but to redeem it, you can redeem all of it, you can redeem part of it, and each of them have a unique code. So super easy to set up. This probably took me, probably took me 15 minutes to set up the account, and then I probably spent, I don't know, maybe another hour kind of tooling around and playing around with it. Very easy to use. There's a lot of other options we're not going to get into, but we can talk about it more as we go forward if we have time at the end. So let's go back. Share multiple screens. Sherry, can you see do I have to switch screens again? Or can you see the presentation? Okay, so let me, okay. How about now? Back to presentation?
Back to the presentation.
Awesome.
We haven't had any questions yet.
No questions.
Reminder, feel free to
okay.
directly and I'll get
Excellent. Excellent. Okay. So we talked, so that's sort of the mechanics of getting it set up and redeeming. There's a very important part in between setting up and the redeeming, which would be your sales, of course. So in this particular example with the gift card, I mentioned before, this is a hosted checkout for your customers. So if you have no website, you can copy the link and send it via email. You can also copy the link, put it into your post. There's a little bit of a unusual, I guess it's not unusual, but you can add a button on your Facebook if you have a Facebook page. You could boost a post. You can create an ad on Facebook or Instagram. So you can, even without a website, you can set up these gift cards and start selling them pretty quickly and easily. You can, if you do have a website, you can embed it onto a page or a blog post. So let's take a look at that. Oops.
Okay, just one question, Jan.
Sure.
So these websites where you can create the gift cards and set it up, are they free or do you pay a fee?
Oh, that's a very good question, actually. So the way that works is, the way the fees work are, for giftcard.com, you're going to pay a transaction fee. And with PayPal, actually, let me go back because I apologize, I kind of zipped right past that. So with PayPal, there's no monthly fee. You're going to pay a percentage of the transaction plus a transaction fee, right? So it might be like 30 cents per transaction plus, whatever the percentage is, and that will vary depending on your account level. With GiftUp, there is a percentage of the transaction plus your payment processor, right? So there's those two pieces. And honestly, that's going to happen regardless of what third-party platform you're using. You're going to pay a merchant account fee. You're going to pay to transact that payment. The PayPal offers the ability, sorry, I have my cheat sheet on this other monitor. PayPal has the ability, you can set up like a buy now button or an add to cart button. It has some options, but it's fairly limited. We will take a look at the PayPal button option. That's our next example. The PayPal does not require your customers to have a PayPal account, meaning even if you are using PayPal as your payment processing, when me as your customer, when I get to that payment page, I can pay using my credit card without having to log into PayPal. A lot of people get confused with that, and I think way back when, I think people did maybe have to have a PayPal account. That's no longer true. And you can also customize that checkout window. On Gift Up, like I said, it was super easy to set up. The payment works where you're going to pay them a fee, a percentage for the transaction plus the payment processing. So whatever you're paying for your payment processor, those fees still apply. With the gift card cafe, they do offer they're currently actually off. They have a special right now, a COVID-19 special. They're currently waiving their fees on their basic plan and $50 off of all other plans. So, that might be something, again, depending on the volume that you're selling, that could end up being a huge savings. They also charge a percentage of each transaction fee plus your payment processor, right? So that's sort of the same thing with all of those third-party platforms. All three of those sell now options. You have the option of sending them via email, sharing them on social media, as well as embedding them onto your website if you have one. For the website solutions, and again, don't feel, these are, I'm like reading from my speaker notes, so you're going to get all of this information. Don't feel you have to be writing all of this down. For the website solutions, I know a lot of people already have a WordPress website, so you can add on to that. WooCommerce happens to be probably one of their most popular, if not the most popular e-commerce plugin to add on to WordPress. Easy Digital Downloads is another plugin. It doesn't have anything to do with WooCommerce. It's just another option if you're only doing digital downloads. So somebody who's maybe a consultant and has videos that they can market and sell. Anybody who has some sort of intellectual property that they can, white papers or articles or things like that, where you can, sell that premium content as a digital download. That might be an option. There's no cost to WooCommerce if you're using their basic setup. There are a number of add-ons, shipping add-ons as an example, that sort of have additional functionality that there may be an annual licensing fee, and that's going to depend on the plugin that you're using. So you're going to want to take a look at that, and again, that goes back to what I was saying before about, how sophisticated do you really need it? Can you make it simple to get up and running quickly, and then maybe do some more research on finding exactly the right plugin for some of the more sophisticated some of the more sophisticated functionality that you're looking to include. Squarespace, it's a bit easier the other thing with what I will say with WordPress and WooCommerce is it's really customizable. You could do just about anything that you need to do with that combination and with all of the additional add-ons. But of course, the caveat with that is the more sophisticated you're making it, there's a longer implementation period. It's going to take more time and energy to execute on that. And there can be a significant learning curve on that. Squarespace is, pretty easy to use out of the gate, but it doesn't have the flexibility that WordPress has. So, it's very template driven. They have a lot of really nice themes, very elegant themes that you can use for free. Their e-commerce, they do have various plans. Those are going to be paid plans. So it's really going to depend on what level you need. But you can certainly take a look at any of these three, the website business, commerce basic, or the commerce advanced, depending on what your particular situation is. But again, you're also going to be paying with WordPress, Squarespace, and even Shopify. You're still going to be paying for those transaction fees through your payment processor. So don't get confused with, what the transaction fees are going to be versus the licensing fees for any of the online shop functionality. The shopping cart is one thing and the merchant processing is something different. So don't get confused by those. Shopify is really built, it's a platform, as the name would imply, built for e-commerce. It's pretty easy to set up and get up and running quickly. It has a lot of options in terms of, product options and discount options. And, you can organize your products into different categories. Again, there's a lot of themes that you can select from. It's pretty easy. They have a lot of options in terms of the look and the interface that you're going to select. You can add products and categories. It does have a blogging feature, although it's really meant for e-commerce. It's really not meant to be a full-on website, as you typically think of maybe a website with, blogs and about us and all of those static pages. Shopify also has a COVID-19 special, and they are they're offering gift cards on all of their plans, and they have extended their trial period to 90 days, which is nice. So you can get in, you can play around with it, and really kind of give it a real dry run. You will still have to, I believe, set up a paid account before you launch your site live and actually start transacting business. But you can get in and really, take a test drive to see if it's a right fit for you. So, and then again, in terms of the merchant accounts, if you already have a payment processor, to add online sales, there may be some additional fees that apply even if you already have a payment processing account. PayPal, same thing, as it's going to charge. I think I mentioned it's a percentage of the transaction plus a transaction fee. The advantage with PayPal is there's no monthly fee. For those of you who have a brick and mortar or have a point of sale already set up, most of those you're paying a monthly fee whether or not you are running any sales, right? So in other words, you could go for the entire month and not have any sale, you're still paying that monthly fee. With PayPal, there is no monthly fee. So you're just paying the percentage and the transaction fee. So, the balance is, the rates are a little bit higher, but you're not paying the monthly. So I always tell people kind of do that math and figure out, what you're kind of anticipating as your monthly sales, and does a consistent monthly fee with a lower rate, does that offset not having to pay a monthly fee with a slightly higher rate? Does that make sense? Okay. Usually I see people nodding their head, but I don't really see anybody. So, so if it doesn't and you want to revisit it, please let Sherry know and we'll come back to that. But, it goes without saying, please, do your due diligence as you're making these decisions, and make sure that, in addition to, how fast you can get something up and running, that you're weighing that against, any costs that you're going to incur. Okay. So that is that. So I think we were here talking about the hosted checkout. So let's take a look. And now, there we go. Okay, so I'm going to share this screen. Okay.
Okay, Jan, someone
Yep.
had a question about delivery charges and deals for shipping costs. So if all of a sudden they're going to start setting up a site and they're going to send things to people and they haven't done that, before, is there a resource?
Yes, you absolutely, and we are going to get into that. I mean, for the gift cards, it's not real, especially in this particular example, it doesn't matter, right? Because they're just going to be downloading it. But if you are selling physical products that you have to ship, Absolutely. So there's really no place in here in this particular example to add shipping carts because it's completely digital. But when we get into our next option or our next scenarios, definitely you want to know what you're paying for the packaging, right? As well as the shipping costs. And depending on your products, it can really make a huge difference because you could lose a lot of money if you're not charging the right amount for your shipping. So don't let me forget that. We'll definitely come back to that. So let's go. We're going to go into, I think it's in here. Sorry. We're going to do checkout installation. So we've got our options all set up, right? We have our gift cards all set up. We're ready to rock and roll. We're going to send out an email campaign because in this scenario, we have no web presence whatsoever. We're brand new and our world has just been rocked. So we're going to pivot and start selling gift cards. So we don't have a website. They make it very, very easy for us. We're going to copy the link. This is your permanent checkout link. Because remember, they are hosting my checkout. I have no web presence whatsoever. I'm going to copy this to my clipboard. And I'm going to go into, I have my email all set up. I have my buy now button, and I'm going to paste it into the web address. So I've now just created a buy now button on my email. And when I send it out, people are able to see my email and my offer, and they're going to click buy now. And they get, essentially, this is my shopping cart, right? So now they can see, we've already taken a preview of this. It's the same interface, right? So I can buy the gift card, send it from, buy it for somebody else, buy it for myself. So maybe you want to offer some kind of configuration of a loyalty program, right? And send it out to all of the customers that you've been doing business with for the last however many years and say, you know what, we really value your business. Buy a gift card now. We're going to offer, if you normally charge $75 for a service, you're going to charge $65. Buy it now and this will be good, and you can redeem this whenever. So start to think about some of these creative offers and how you can reach out to your customers now to start getting some, stay in touch with them, number one, and start getting some cash flow going again. Okay. So let me I had a couple of scenarios here. I want to make sure we get to all of them. All right, so the other thing I'm going to do is, we talked about embedding it on social media. Link to your social network. I happen to be on Facebook. I do not have 2,000 fans. I'm assuming probably most people on this call don't have over 2,000 fans on Facebook. If you do, you can obviously click that other option. Again, copy to clipboard. You'll also notice that somewhere in here it tells me when I go into Facebook, I can't add it as a tab because I have less than 2,000 fans, but I can edit my button. And I'm going to select shop with you, shop now, click next. I'm going to embed a website link, and I'm going to paste my link and finish. And now I've got a shop now button. And magically, there they go to now my shopping cart page, right? What was that, 2 minutes? All right, really, really fast and easy. So you can also do that, obviously. You can just as easily do that on a post. You can add a post. But when you do that, you're going to want to zhuzh it up a little bit. So add a photo, add some copy about what the offer is, because it's just a link and there's no preview as you might when you're sending, another type of link. So, tool around with it, try it out if that makes sense for your business. The other option that we have is if we want to embed it on our website. Okay, so I happen to have a website. It walks you through. This is obviously, now we've ratcheted it up a little bit. It's a little more complicated. You've got to connect your website with GiftUp, meaning they have to be able to talk to each other and play nicely. But once that's done, you're literally just adding this, what's called a short code. You can do it for all your items, a specific item, or from select groups. So think about whether you're going to send one offer to one group of people and one offer to another group of people. You know, how can you start to leverage that to build your business? And somewhere in here, all right, we have a page for my GiftUp Shoppy. All right. So I just set up this page just so we could see a couple of different scenarios. So we've got all items. You can see where customers can take a look at any of the gift cards that I've set up, or if I'm sending a group of people to a specific page for a specific offer, they can see just that item that I've selected for them. You'll notice also a couple of customized images for my gift card. So again, this was pretty quick and easy. Now, granted, I'm a bit of a nerd, so I was able to work through it pretty quickly, but it is pretty user-friendly. They also have a link directly to Canva. For anybody who's not familiar with that, it's canva.com. You don't need to write it down because I've got it in the list of resources at the end. But it's a great photo editing tool. It's online, it's free. You can, of course, upgrade. They will take your money. And you can add some stock images and make some really nice photos and collages for your gift cards if this is a good match for your business. Okay. What you will notice on this versus when we start to look at some of the PayPal buttons and we start to look at Shopify, I can only change the quantity, right? So if I'm going to buy 4, there's no opportunity for me to go back and add another item to my shopping cart. This is a one-way street. I add it to my shopping cart and then I go and I check out. There's really nothing kind of in between there. So that is obviously a limitation. But you could get creative with this and you can, you know, create a bunch of things and essentially end up with this list. You know, depends on how you want to do it. But this is going to get you up and running very, very quickly. Okay, do we have any questions on the gift cards specifically?
I haven't seen any specific questions, but
Okay.
I would just like to remind everyone that if you are putting this on social media, if customers aren't able to come into your business right now because everything's shut down and you can't interact with them, then rely on your social media to continue that conversation with your customers and your clients.
Absolutely.
So you want to post things that will be relevant and interesting, and just putting up an offer doesn't mean that they'll respond to it. You still have to have a conversation with them about it, whether it's just to remind them that you too are part of the community and you want them to support you, but have a conversation.
That's great advice, Sherry, you know, because I say this whether I'm talking about e-commerce, whether I'm talking with nonprofits, whether I'm talking with, you know, for-profit clients, you know, be a human being, especially now, be a human being, you know, be kind, communicate with your customers. They want to hear from you. They want to know that you're doing well, right? They worry about you. We worry about one another. So, you know, let them know how you're doing. Be real, be genuine. That's the best thing that you can do for your marketing. So anyway, okay. So that was our super easy, no fuss, no muss gift card scenario. We're gonna make it a little more complicated now with simple products. So say you have things, right, that you can sell. So now you have a bigger opportunity, you have more of an opportunity to sell different things and engage your customers. So this is good for a business with a website, right? You have maybe a limited number of products. You have simple products, again, you know, a mug, a stapler. I'm looking at the stuff that's on my desk, right? You know, things that are, you know, you don't have sizing options, you don't have color options. You maybe only have, you know, 10 products to sell. Maybe you're packaging kits, right? So, you know, if you normally sell, well, we'll get into the example, like, you know, like hair care, selling hair care products, you know, shampoo and conditioner, and now we're going to sell it as a package. You might be a vet selling, you know, pet food or something like that, or a personal trainer selling at-home gear. So you have sort of a limited number of products with no variables. Advantage is you can add it to your existing website. You can offer more than one product. Again, when we're looking at the gift cards, we could only buy one thing, right? We started at the gift card process and then went straight to checkout. We couldn't go back and continue shopping. So this is an advantage in that your customers can go back and continue shopping. So major benefit, hello, you can do this while your shop is closed, right? So even if you can't go in physically, or if you can go in physically to your shop, but your customers can't come in, right? Or they're afraid to come in, you can still do business with them. You can, you know, talk to them on the phone. You can engage with them on social media, like Sherry was saying, and then say, listen, we've got, you know, we know that these are kind of crazy times. Go on our website, go to this particular page. We have a list of the products that we're selling, and you can buy these products right online. We'll ship them to you. Going back to the question somebody was asking before about shipping, please really, you know, figure out, you know, you're going to need to weigh your products. You're going to need to weigh your products with whatever packaging you're shipping them in, right? Especially if it's, you know, think about, you know, my mystical mug here, right? You're going to ship the mug with packaging so it doesn't break in transit. There's weight to that. There's weight to the box. So weigh that together. The U.S. Post Office, actually I'll have to add that to my list of resources, has a calculator, has a shipping calculator. It gets kind of complicated, to be truthful with you. So if you can offer flat rate shipping, you know, try and go that direction. Again, it's going to be easier for you. It's going to be easier for your customers. It's going to be easier to set up. So keep it as simple as you possibly can to get yourself up and running quickly. And then in terms of the cons of a simple product, it's limited, right? It's not a really super sophisticated interface necessarily. You're limited in the number of options that you have for these particular products. And you do need to set up your shipping and delivery options. So, you know, think about, you know, can you do some sort of, I know a lot of businesses are doing, you know, curbside pickup, or they're doing, you know, touchless delivery, right? Is that something that you can offer your customers? You know, think about, you know, can you do, you know, a shipping route of your own? You know, you pack everything into your car and you go, you know, door to door and you drop everything off for your customers. Be creative, right? This is not, you know, there's really no limit to how you approach this. So, you know, and talk to other people. You know, I'm hoping at the end of this, you know, we'll be able to share some ideas if we have time. So, you know, think about what, you know, how you can offer that, you know, especially if you're doing delivery, you don't have to worry about the shipping costs. Okay. So.
And I just want to add to that also, while you're having that conversation with your customers and clients on social media, ask them, what would you like to, you know, my hairdresser's closed, and that's devastating, and I had to cut my own bangs.
They look great.
But I don't dye my hair anymore. I did, and she put together a hair dye kit for me that would be great. It's not something I would have thought of. I suggested to a local butcher that they put together a pack your freezer box, so that this way a family can come once and buy enough meat to have in their freezer. So because it's not business as usual, even if you are someone who provides a service, you could do your consulting this way. You can set up sessions with people this way, or the curbside pickup if you
Yeah.
have goods, but it's not about doing business the same way. It's about, as Jan said, getting creative, but also thinking about what do your customers need now? What's going to get them to think that not only do they want to support you, but that you're supporting them
Right.
as well.
That's such a great idea. And you hit the nail right on the head. Talk to your customers, right? What we were just saying about, like, be a human being. They want to help you. I can't tell you how many, Facebook posts I've seen about, supporting local businesses. People really care. These are your neighbors, these are your friends, and they want to be able to help you. Ask them how you can help them. Ask them what would be of value for them. Don't be shy. This is not the time to kind of stand on ceremony and say, I got all the answers. Nobody has all of the answers, right? So be open to that. Okay, so in this scenario, we've got simple products. There's no color or size variation. We do have some basic packages. The shopping cart that we're going to be using is PayPal. I have some buy now button and an add to cart button that we're going to take a look at. The domain, again, we are going to do a couple of different scenarios within this, but we're using the hosted checkout because my customers are going to go to PayPal to pay for their purchases. And we're going to add to email, social media, and then add to a page so we can take a look at what that would look like. Payment processor. In this particular example, it's PayPal, but you can do the same. You can do something similar with Stripe and Square. Okay, so let's take a peek. Oh, I keep doing this. I gotta to share my other screen. Okay. Got a lot going on my monitor right now. I apologize. Okay, so PayPal. Oops, it did not log in. All right, we're not going to read the letter. Close out all this stuff. All right, so I've logged into PayPal. I'm going to go to Tools and All Tools. And they've got a lot of options. We're going to go to PayPal buttons. Okay, got a lot of options here. We're going to start with, actually, let's take a look at my saved buttons. All right, so let's take a look at the shampoo as our simple example. All right, so we're going to start. You just name your item, very cleverly named shampoo, because that's what I'm selling. Whatever the price is. And in this particular example, I added a very basic drop-down menu. Okay, so we're going to offer different scents if this is what you happen to be selling. So you can add whatever the variable is, but it's a very simple variable: lavender, honeysuckle, or unscented. And then you can see your customer's view over here, and then they can choose. This is just a preview, obviously, what they want. Ignore the item ID, you don't need it. If you are shipping, you can include the shipping amount there. You're going to need to include your tax rate if you're required to. Some services don't have to collect sales tax. Obviously, if you're selling physical products, you will. You're going to need to include that there. You can track your inventory if need be. We're not going to. We're going to keep it simple. You can add special instructions. You can send people to a specific thank you page on your website if you have one. Again, these are options. You do not need to save. You do not need to include them. And then you're going to save it. Whoops, this is the wrong example. All right, let's go back to an easier example. We're going to let's do a buy now button, because we're going to do this one. The first one is going to go through email. All right, so let's do the same shampoo. No item ID. It's $10. I'm not going to ship it. And let's just create the button. You'll notice now I have the website and the email option. Can everybody see that? Hopefully you guys are nodding. Okay. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to edit this button because I want to show you. If I add a drop-down menu, you'll notice that that email option goes away. It's not a simple link anymore, right? So that's the big difference between if you're adding a variable, you can't do it with just the email link. So what's the workaround for that? You just create multiple buttons, right? So I'm going to go back and edit this button. It's kind of a pain in the butt, but you know, you're going to get up and running pretty quickly. So maybe this is my lavender shampoo. And now I have my email link. So in that scenario, if you have a few simple products, right, you've got a 16-ounce lavender shampoo, you have a 16-ounce honeysuckle shampoo, you create a button for each of those. You can send out an email with, you know, here's a list of our products that we're selling. And I, as a customer, I can go and select the one that I want and I can go check out. The main disadvantage is it's a little bit clunky, right? I can only buy one product at a time. It's not really ideal. So if you're going to do it with a form, right, this is the form, I'm going to select a code. You can embed it in your website so that now I have my options and I can add it to cart. Right? And then I can see what my total, I can see the price for each item. I can adjust the item. I can see the details of what I'm buying. This one is the 20-ounce honeysuckle. This one is just the fragrance. Okay. So that's the key difference between the buy now, right? It's one-to-one, and the add to cart. I can now continue shopping and go back to the same page. So if you do have a handful of products without a ton of different variables, basically what you end up doing is creating a list of buttons, of individual buttons that customers can go, okay, I'm going to take this one off the shelf and put it in my virtual shopping cart. I'm going to go back to the shelf, pick something else, and add it to my shopping cart. It's still not as slick as some other options, right? But it's definitely serviceable, especially if you don't have a ton of stuff that you need to add. Okay. Does anybody have any questions about the PayPal stuff?
We did have a question. It's not specific to PayPal, but it's from someone who's been running a soccer academy for children.
Okay.
And they're doing it right now through like Google Classroom, and they're not charging. But if they want to continue to do kind of skills-based learning, how do they go from not charging to charging?
That's a good question. So in that case, they really are, what you're basically trying to do is sell a digital either a digital download or some sort of you know, digital subscription where customers pay for something online, a Zoom meeting, or you know, a particular page where they can see a video or something like that, and you're trying to gate that content. There are a number, I mean, there's websites specifically for that, but if that's not how you're really intending to do business long term, it's probably way more sophisticated because than you need, and there's more of a learning curve. What I would say in that particular case, let's set up an appointment, because that is like a really specific case use. And, you know, again, depending on, is it a video that you know, a file that you're going to email them, or is it something where you're going to have multiple people logging in at the same time? There's a number of different ways to do that. So let's talk kind of online but offline about that, because that is a good question. does anybody else have any questions about like digital downloads since we're, okay. If you type in, I know we're all on mute, but type, send Sherry your question if you do, because obviously there's a myriad of different scenarios really for any of these solutions. Okay. So that's that with, and it goes without saying, actually, I just want to, before we move on, make sure that you're testing all of this as you're setting it up. Test it as yourself on the back end, logged in, test it again, not logged in, have your spouse, have your child, have, all of your, have friends test it, because everybody's kind of set up differently, and the more people that you can have engaging with that and putting it through its paces, you'll anticipate, like, oh, you know what, I didn't really think about that. And it might be clarification on a point of friction, might just be, oh, you know what, let me include an extra line here that explains, these are also, oh, I didn't put in that these are all 16-ounce shampoos, right? Oh, I have to include that. Oh, I need to clarify that it's, whatever. So that the more feedback that you get, the better. The other thing that you're going to want to make sure that you do is, along the same lines, is test it in different browsers. I tend to use Chrome for everything, but I always make sure that I'm trying things on Firefox. I'm trying things in Opera and Safari, and when I have to, in Internet Explorer as well. So test it on different browsers, test it on your phone, so that you really understand what the user experience is. Okay. So,
I have a question.
Yep.
Speaking of phones, so is it advisable for people, if they can, to text out offers to people, and then
good
they
question, Sherry. Yeah, texting, SMS messaging. You can, if you have people's information, if you have permission to text them, absolutely. I would expect, if we're having this conversation, and clearly we are because we're all here, probably you may not have a text marketing list. So please don't just start texting people. That's no bueno. You'll probably annoy them. But if you have an email list, or you do have a list that people have given you permission to market via text, absolutely. Any place that people have given you permission to communicate with them, right? So I think we're all sort of feeling a little bit stir crazy these days, and trying to connect with others. This is a way to connect, especially with I see Denise Palumbo. RJ, my son did soccer with you guys, so shout out. Yeah, definitely stay in touch with your people, and if they've given you permission, and especially if you're doing like a simple gift certificate or something like that, you can send them the link, right? You can send them via text, you can send it via email, you can add it on social media. The more ways you can communicate with people, the better. I always say, like, before this, the world turned upside down, I always said, go where your customers are, right? If they're on Facebook, go on Facebook. If they're on Twitter, go on Twitter. If they're on Instagram, go on Instagram. Don't make yourself work harder than you have to. Okay, so, okay.
Just a question about digital downloads.
Okay.
So if you have digital downloads that people are going to need to pay for, is it possible to have some that are free and some that?
Oh, that's another good question. Excellent. Absolutely. So in terms of sort of just general marketing advice, what I try to encourage clients to think about is, what's your lowest, point of entry, right? What's the smallest package or least expensive service or product that you can offer for your customers, all the way up to, your most sophisticated, your most, your highest level of service, your, most engaged, most, highest touch point services. So if you can, let's talk about, the hair salon, so we have, maybe they're just offering, simple products, buy our shampoo, conditioner, hair products, versus, what, maybe they want to do an online consultation, and they can say, okay, you know what, Sherry, you're such a valued customer. We're going to put together a package for you. We're going to send you this gift basket, right? We're going to call it a gift basket, with all of the products, with your custom coloring kit, and then we're going to get on a call, and I'm going to show you, or I'm going to send you a video that will walk you through, since probably it's the first time you've had to do this at home by yourself, right? So, we can just sell the simple products. We can package the products as a higher value sale, or we can really customize something for our customers. Again, put on your thinking caps and just be really creative in how you package this and market it to your customers. Does that help? Okay. So for a more sophisticated, more involved example, we're going to go full in on an online store. This example is really good for businesses that already maybe have a website and they want to add e-commerce to their existing website. Maybe you have a retail store and now you want to start selling online. So we'll get into kind of the nuts and bolts of that. Some examples, a hair salon we talked about with the hair care products. Maybe you're a jewelry designer and you want to offer your, your designs online. A boutique, another example. So the advantage with a full-on online store is you've got a lot of selling options, right? You can organize your products into categories. You can, excuse me, you can track your customers' previous orders. It gives you a lot of these third-party software platforms will offer marketing and reselling integration. So it's a more robust solution. Of course, the drawback is it's going to take time to execute on all of that. You've got to get all of your products set up online. You've got to take pictures of everything if you don't have them already. Typically, there's a little bit more of a learning curve involved, and likely it will involve some delivery and shipping options. So you're going to have to know what your costs are and be able to set those up. Things to think about when you're thinking about integrating an online store or setting up an online store. Do you have inventory that you need to control and account for? Or can you roll out with just a few products from your larger catalog? Maybe, your top 10, your best 10 selling products, get those up and running quickly, and then over time start to add more. So in other words, you're going to launch what we affectionately call a soft launch, right? You're going to do just a few products and go live, start marketing it, start telling people that you're selling online, and then continue to add more products. So you start with, either your best-selling products or your highest margin products or whatever it might be, and then start to build it out from there. Okay, so in terms of the mechanics, the products we talked about a little bit, the shopping cart. In this particular example, we're going to be using Shopify, but Squarespace is also an online an e-commerce option that you could consider. WooCommerce and WordPress is another option. In this particular example, we're actually going to look at both the subdomain, something like shop.mybiz.com, embedding it right onto your existing domain, mybiz.com, or doing it via hosted checkout. So you have a couple of different options there. And then the payment processor, again, in this example, it's PayPal, just because I personally happen to have a PayPal account, but you could also integrate these stores with Stripe or Authorize.net. There's a whole myriad of them, so you want to think about, what works for you. Okay, so switching windows to,
Jan, I just want to be mindful of the time because we only have about another 10 minutes. So
I know. I'm happy to stay if people have more questions too. So
some people have another one.
I'm sure I know a lot of people do. So, okay. So, so in this particular example, it's Shopify. Again, you're going to go in, you're going to set up your account, and I want to reiterate, they do have a 90-day trial period, so you can go ahead and play around. You're going to go into your settings, get everything set up. The first thing, or one of the first things you're going to want to do is add your payment provider. And again, I've already got it integrated with PayPal, but you can see they've got, you know, Shopify payments, Amazon Pay, third-party provider, something like a authorized.net. And then you're going to go in and you're going to start setting up products, right? So I just set up a couple of simple examples, and you can, they happen to call it collections, but it's basically, you know, categories of products. So I just set up hair care and skin care. And then once you have your products set up, and your categories set up, then you can go into your sales channel down here, and you can integrate with a buy button, which is similar to what we looked at before with PayPal. And you just create a buy button, and you can do it by specific product or a specific or full category. And this is just an example of what it'll look like. Okay. And you can take a preview of your online store. And you can customize this. You can see the free themes, the theme store, so you can pay or use the free. And then what I did as an example is you can embed that button right on your website. This happens to be a particular button for a specific product. So again, if you think back to how we had the simple products set up on PayPal, it's a list of individual products with, you know, some options available. And then add to cart pops out over here on the side. And then oops, let me do this. Okay, or you can add the full collection. So it's pretty robust. I just set up a few simple examples in terms of products, but with Shopify, you can do everything from, you know, basic buttons with, you know, simple link, all the way up to embedding it on your website. You can also keep everything right in the Shopify ecosystem.
We just have a couple of questions.
Sure.
So one is about the differences between all the different options, Stripe, Square, PayPal. Is it beneficial to have more than one option for payment? And also to just remind people that now is the time that a lot of these sites, including Squarespace, are offering upgrades and deals and
Yes.
recognize that there are people that are going to need to shift their business model. So I believe that Squarespace is offering their existing customers, right, free upgrades if they want to include e-commerce, but I'm sure that all of these will have special trial offers or things like that. And the trial offer may just be enough to get you through what
Absolutely.
you need to.
Yeah, no, definitely.
And so I did that with Fitbit workouts. It's 90 days free.
Right.
And
Yeah.
but so just be mindful that all of these things, and once again, Jan will give you all of this in the
Right.
presentation, the resources.
Right. Well, yeah, just in terms of, yeah, and in terms of, you know, having multiples, you know, I don't think that you necessarily need to have multiple payment processors. You know, PayPal will integrate with, you know, PayPal will integrate with any of the options that we've seen, right? So from the simplest with, you know, the gift cards. You can do your own gift cards using PayPal. You can set up your own PayPal buttons if you already have a PayPal account set up. So there's no advantage necessarily to having PayPal and Stripe. But you know, some people, especially if they've done things like, you know, clients that go to like the business expo, or they do kiosk sales, or they do like artists and crafts people, where they're going out and selling at a table, and they'll do the swipe, right? That's usually the Square, or actually PayPal has a swipe as well. So there's platforms where you can do, you know, you can run the card physically, you know, on your phone. You know, they have apps for that. So you don't necessarily need to have multiples of those, but if you already have an account, and that's why I mentioned sort of all of these different options. If you already have an account, use the account that you have. You know, there's this, you don't necessarily want to start over trying to learn something new at this point, if you don't have to. If you have a PayPal account, use your PayPal account and just integrate it. Most third-party platforms will, you know, play very nicely with PayPal. Most play nicely with Stripe is probably the next biggest one, right up there with PayPal. Square, you know, kind of, sort of. But you know, take a look at what they're going to charge you. Look at what your rates are going to be. To some extent, you're going to have to kind of guesstimate about what your online sales are going to be in order to calculate an estimate on what your fees will end up being. So anything else in terms of account setup or options, or share? No other questions? Okay. So so in terms of, if you have something more sophisticated, you know, I would recommend that, you know, you at least give, you know, something like Shopify a test drive, or even, you know, Squarespace, you know, for their e-commerce. But if you don't need a full-on shop, an online shop, you know, try something that's more simple. I always sort of tell people, keep it as simple as you possibly can make it. Do not over-engineer this. You're going to drive yourself crazy, and probably, frankly, drive your customers crazy. So, you know, so don't worry about, you know, making it super, super slick. You just want to, you know, make it easy for you to run and to manage, and make it easy for your customers to do business with you. Okay, so with that being said, I did want to take a little bit of time. Do we have anybody, actually, we don't need to spend time on this. Does everybody have a website, or are they interested in setting up a website? No, I'm actually, okay. All right, so then I'm sure, did anybody respond that we need to go into this? Okay, so basically this is just sort of, it's in the slideshow. You'll have access to it. If you have any questions, you know, let me know. Okay, so this is a list of resources. This is pretty much everything that we've already talked about, plus some other resources. Canva is a photo editing app that I talked about. It's online. And then iStock is a great resource for low-cost stock images and graphics. They actually even have some videos that you can purchase. So, you know, a lot of options there. We didn't talk specifically to anything about restaurants. Do we have any restaurateurs or food sellers? So this was also, I'm going to keep building this. I did put out a request for any local businesses or nonprofits that wanted to share what they're already doing to sell online, and what they're using, just so you can kind of get a sense of, because sometimes it's hard when you're, you know, transacting business online. You don't always know what's behind it. So these are just a couple of examples of local businesses that are already selling online. Sound Earth, they've got a WooCommerce website, and they use PayPal as their merchant processor. The Humane Society of Westchester, they've got a bunch of PayPal donate buttons on their website, so you can kind of see what that looks like. Sacheton Life, they use Venmo as their shopping cart. And so they have, they're processing things manually. So there's, a number of different ways that you can integrate these solutions. But, if you have any other questions, you need any support as you're kind of tooling around and checking out some of these options, do reach out. We're here to help you. And we appreciate you joining us. So.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, everybody. I saw that Bridget joined us. Bridget, do you want to say a few words before we?
Yeah, I came into the meeting and didn't, my screen is not showing my face, but I'm here. And I just want to thank all the business owners that are on here today. And we do want to, as Jan mentioned and Sherry, we want to be a resource to help you get online as quickly as possible. So Jan is available for consultation. I don't know, I guess for now, let's just use the economic development email address. If you want to make an appointment with Jan, email economicdevelopment@westchestergov.com, and we'll connect you, and Jan can consult with you. She's not going to do the work for you, but she'll help you make those important decisions about which way to go. And if you get stuck, she can help you through those challenges. So I'm really hoping that, today was helpful, and that ongoing, the Economic Development Department of Westchester County can be of assistance to you in transitioning to an e-commerce model to keep you going through this crazy crisis.
All right, well, thanks, everybody. I appreciate it. Stay well, be well, and I look forward to seeing you all in real life one day very soon.
Hopefully. Thank you very much, Jen.
Stay
Great
healthy,
job.
everybody.
All right, take care. Bye, everybody.
Bye.